Doing? Hope you've had a really great day. We're having a really great day today. Today we're going to be talking about drinks, what to drink on keto. I get this question quite a lot around, I'm on keto, I like my lattes. What should I be having? So go ahead and let me know in the comments if you're watching this live. Put a 1 in the comments if you're watching live, and if you're watching on the replay, put in a 2. So we really don't want to be drinking calories, but there are some, pretty good variety of drinks that you can have on keto. So I really wanted to talk about that today. So go ahead and let me know what's your favorite drink that you have on keto. If it's just good old plain water, let us know that. Put water in the comments. But if it's something else, please do let us know in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear what that is. So when we get to the end of this live today, I'm going to be talking about who's won today for the the most contributions in the group. So I'll let you know that a little bit later in the group. But first of all, we're going to be talking about drinks and keto. And don't you worry, at the end we will be getting to talk about alcoholic drinks. Those ones that are a little bit more occasional. So. Let's have start with the simplest thing. The simplest thing clearly is water. Is water okay to have on keto? Absolutely, of course it is. And a couple of ways that I like to drink water, good old plain tap water is just fine, but also seltzer water, so fizzy water, sparkling water is also good. And I will often just put a slice of lemon in it. I don't squeeze the lemon juice in, although a tiny bit is okay. But just some soda water is good because it can, if you're feeling a bit hungry and you're hanging out till the next meal and you don't want to have a snack, just a little bit of sparkling water can take the edge off your hunger. Got a comment here from Linda. Hi, Linda. Great to have you here. So you have water, green tea, coffee, and red wine. Yes, I'm with you there on the red wine. Nice choice. Love the emoji. So that's the first one is water. And obviously at the moment with summer, they're pretty hot days. And so we obviously need to drink a lot of water. Juice is no good, clearly, on keto because there's sugar in fruit juices. But there are some other ways that you can have some tasty drinks. So, for example, if you decide to have, sort of a tea, an iced tea, if you make it yourself, that's great. And if you like it a little bit sweetened, then make sure that you use an artificial sweetener like an erythritol, a monk fruit, or a stevia. And the reason we sort of limit to those is because those will obviously they don't raise your glucose levels, but other types of sweeteners can actually raise your insulin levels. We can have an insulin response even when it doesn't actually have sugar in it. So, and those 3 sweeteners are completely fine. Personally, I try not to have sweeteners, but it's perfectly fine to have those sweeteners. The other thing that I really like on a hot summer's day is I make myself an espresso coffee. I get some crushed ice or some ice cubes, and then I just pour the hot coffee over the ice cubes. Years ago, I used to live in Spain, and that's what the Spanish do after lunch on a hot day is they have café con hielo, so iced coffee, but they don't have all the milk with it, that often, we tend to have. They just have it just as an espresso coffee. So, and sometimes with just a dash of sweetener in it. So I suggest if you haven't tried that, give it a go. It's pretty nice and it gives you a bit of a boost and it's also refreshing. So in terms of cold drinks, the other type of cold drink is kombucha. I'm never quite sure how to pronounce it, kombucha or kombucha, which is becoming much more popular, and that's basically a fermented drink. It's effectively a fermented juice, tends to be a bit fizzy. You can make it yourself. I've had a couple of goes. I'm not very successful at it, but you can also buy it. Again, just be careful. When it's fermented, basically all the sugars have gone out, but often they'll add a little bit of sweetener back in, like an erythritol back in to make it tasty. I've actually tested that on myself with testing my glucose, and I've discovered that for me, it doesn't raise my glucose levels when I have a kombucha that's been sweetened with artificial sweetener. And so for me, that's perfectly fine, but I do keep it as a bit of a treat. So do let me know if you've tried it or not, if you like kombucha or kombucha, or have you like to try it. It really has been taking kind of the soft drinks world by storm. But as always, read the back of the label and be very careful with it. And don't drink gallons of it a day. Just have it maybe 1 or 2 a week as an occasional treat would be my suggestion with it. So let's just talk about. Tell me in the comments if you tried kombucha, if you like it or you don't like it. It can be a bit of an acquired taste. So I'll be interested to know what you think. So let's just talk about teas. So the best tea is a green tea because that's actually helps you be more insulin sensitive. So that's a pretty good tea to have on keto. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it, particular ones. Other ones I find taste a bit too much like, mown grass to me. And I feel like I'm drinking hay, but there are some that I like. So it's just a question of finding one that you personally like. One thing I would say with teas is just be a little bit careful with, particularly in the summer, we like to have fruit teas. They're pretty tasty, but just be aware that, some of those fruit teas can have residual fruit in them. And so they can actually give you a glucose spike in your blood. I had a bit of a surprise the other day with an apple and cinnamon tea that I had, pretty delicious. But I thought I'll just test it. And so I tested my blood glucose before and after, and I did actually get a spike in my blood glucose. And obviously one of the things we're trying to do when we're on keto lifestyle is to keep our blood sugars down. So just be aware that just because it doesn't have sugar in it on the label, if there's natural sugars in the fruit tea that you're drinking, it can actually spike your blood sugar. So just be careful about what you're choosing. One of the teas that I really like is a chai tea, which is like an Indian tea. Chai is the Indian word for tea, and that can have cardamom and cumin and stuff in it. And it's a sort of spicy tea. And I quite like that as a sort of a substitute for coffee sometimes. Traditionally, it has honey in it. Obviously, we don't have honey on keto. So I like it actually without sugar. So I'm lucky that, I've never really been a sweet things in my drinks kind of person. So let me know if you've tried chai and if you like it. If you do like milk with it, you can just drink it black. But if you do like milk with it, obviously milk has a lot of sugars in it. So not a great idea to put milk in it. But what you could have is a nut milk. So you could have an almond milk or something similar to that in it, which obviously doesn't have the sugar content that cow's milk or dairy milk has in it. So that's another option. And then we come to, don't worry, we're getting to alcohol soon, but coffee obviously is a good option. And we have the famous bulletproof coffee, which has, grass-fed butter and MCT oil in it. Just be aware if you're drinking a lot of those that the calories and fats can start to add up. As I always say, we don't count calories, but calories do count. So just be aware if you're trying to lose weight, if you drink too many of those, it can start to impact on you. So tell me what kind of coffee you like. Do you like coffee with sweetener? Do you like white coffee? Do you like black coffee? Do you like bulletproof coffee? Personally, I have my coffee with a splash of cream, and I only drink it in the morning after lunch. I certainly it keeps me awake, so I don't drink it at dinner. If you like your Starbucks type coffees, just be aware with those that we try not to drink our calories, and some of those can be pretty calorie heavy, and you want to be modifying them to make sure that there are don't have the syrups and don't have milk. Just be quite limited in what you have. And I found for me, I make my own coffee. I grind my own beans. I don't roast them, but I do grind my own beans. And I just experiment with different roasters of beans, different mix of beans till you find one that you like. Sometimes they can be a bit bitter, but I like to find a nice smooth blend that I'm happy to drink either black or just with a splash of cream. So just play around with that. There's loads and loads of choices out there. The other thing that I will drink quite a bit on keto, which I like, and it's very low calorie, and it also gives you extra minerals and within it, like magnesium, for example, is cacao. So that's basically cocoa, but a sort of a less refined version of it. And again, I don't drink it with milk or anything like that. I just have a teaspoon of it as an alternative to coffee. I think it's something like 20 to 30 calories for a cup of it. And then I put either drink it black or again with a splash of cream in it. When I say a splash, it's like, a couple of teaspoons tops in there. And I find that just gives me a bit of richness, and I have that if I, feel like I want to have some chocolate. I won't have chocolate, but I will have a cup of cocoa, a cup of cacao. And I know that it's giving me, extra minerals and things that are good. Now, the other one that's a good drink is broth. I make chicken broth every week and it lasts me for the week. So chicken broth or a bone broth of some description, again, very low calorie, gives you collagen, which we talked about the other week, about the importance of collagen for you. So in terms of, helping with your connective tissue, so with your nails, your hair, and internally with your organs. Again, that's very low calorie. You can add some salt to it. Because we know that unless we've got some issues with our kidneys, extra salt is fine. Our body can process it. And, that can be a really nice start to the day. If I'm skipping breakfast, which I do most days, I have a cup of broth instead. So I find that pretty helpful. So, people say, can't really drink too much different things other than kind of water and coffee on keto. I hope you see that there's lots of choices that we're giving here. I've given you probably about 5 or 6 different options here just in the non-alcoholic version. So let's just have a quick chat about what Linda mentioned about red wine. So yes, red wine, especially the drier red wines, are good on keto. Again, they do have sugar in them, but the red wine has the least amount of sugar of the white or rosé or red wine. Obviously, we don't want to be drinking too much wine because we are sort of then drinking our calories, not to mention, the negative effects of alcohol. But, the occasional glass of red wine is fine. We don't want to be drinking sherries or brandies and things because they do have added sugar. The fortified wines do have added sugar. So if you're going to have wine, stick to red wine, or thankfully a champagne is also quite a lower sugar content kind of wine. So, a good, of course, it's got to be good quality champagne. Of course, not a sweeter champagne, but a drier champagne. And a drier red wine is okay occasionally. And then if you like spirits, stick to the spirits that are colorless. So, sort of the vodkas, if you're going to have a spirit rather than, the redder, like the rums, the colored spirits. So not so much a rum, not a Campari or things like that, which are coloured. They tend to be a bit more sugarful, and definitely not Bailey's. I'm very sorry, but Bailey's, delicious as it is got a very high sugar content in it. So, we've gone through a whole range of things, right through water, cold summer drinks, fermented drinks, teas, cold teas, warm tea, iced teas, warm teas, coffee, cocoa or cacao, right through to alcoholic drinks. And you can see that there's really quite a range of things that we can drink on keto. I would just make a couple of notes about it is, try and keep the milk out of it and keep your drinks as low calorie as you reasonably can. So keep the sugars out of it. Try not to put too much fats in it because obviously we prefer to eat our food rather than drink it. And finally, try and, if you do need it sweet, use erythritol, monk fruit, or stevia, or a combination of those. And then with alcoholic beverages, keep those down. And basically, I might have an alcoholic drink maybe once a month. Somebody sent me a beautiful hamper the other day, most of which I gave away, but it was a beautiful little bottle of red wine in there. So I kept the red wine, I kept the truffle oil, and I kept the beautiful cheese as well. And the rest I gave to friends and neighbours. But, really, there's lots of options for what we can have, and there's lots of delicious options. So I hope you found that really helpful. Tell me what's a drink that perhaps you might try or that you haven't had for a while, that you're going to go back to. I'd be really interested to hear that. Let me know in the comments. And just one more thing to do, which is to say who's the winner of this week's Amazon voucher. And for the second week in a row, I'm pleased to announce that it's Terry Hastings. Thank you very much, Terry, for your posts in the group and your interesting comments. We enjoy hearing from you. We know that you're very thoughtful in what you do, and so we really appreciate having you here in the group. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, drinks and keto. So off you go and make some great keto choices. And thanks for coming into the group. See you soon.